Good morning, Suzanne. How are you?
I am doing fabulous, Liz. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for agreeing or letting me be able to interview you. I'm super excited about this. So, hi, everyone. This is Suzanne, my friend, and she is going to talk today about her business that is just incredible. I'm super excited about this interview. So, right away, I'm just going to pass it right over to Suzanne to talk about the topic for today's interview. And again, thank you, Suzanne. Over to you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Liz, for having me on. And I'm just going to get set up here because I have a slideshow. So just bear with me while I set things up. Okay. And here we go. Technology is great when it works. Are you seeing things fine there, Liz?
Yeah, it looks great. Looks great.
Okay. So first before we even start, I want to make sure that you're as comfortable as possible. All of us are pretty zoomed out right now. And so what I want you to do, if you can stand for part of the presentation, please do, because we put a lot of stress on our organs from all the sitting we're doing, okay? And as well, make sure that your screen is at eye level because we're getting that zoom hunch happening, right? And we're getting all this knotted up here. And then if you are sitting, if you can put a pillow behind your back just to support your lower back.
Okay, I have one.
You have one? Perfect.
Yep.
And then another great tip is to take pillows and put them on your lap and just take your arms and put them on top of your pillows and you will feel your neck and shoulders relax.
Oh, I have a keyboard thing, so I'll put my hands on that.
Perfect.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So now that we're in a comfortable stance, I just want to say that I'm really grateful to Liz for letting me speak to you about the 5 healing benefits of nature. And before I progress, what I'd like to do is I'd just like to acknowledge the land that I'm on. And as I acknowledge my land, I would like each of you to think of the land that you're on, the traditional land that you're on. So I would like to honor the land by saying that I live, work, and play on the traditional territories of the Blackfoot Confederacy, the Tsuut'ina, the Stoney Nakoda Nations, the Métis Nation 3, and all people who call Treaty 7 of Southern Alberta their home. So just take that in, take a moment to recognize where you're watching this from. And if you don't know, just do a quick Google on it because it's really important for us to acknowledge the caretakers of the past, to acknowledge that we are caretaking this current land and we are trying to make it better for 7 generations to come. So I am really passionate about nature and how it naturally heals. And I'm going to share the 5 healing benefits of nature with you today. So I thought this was kind of a funny meme. She says, sorry, I'm busy right now. I'm watching a live stream. Right now, so many of us are on technology because of COVID. And a study done by BBM Canada, even before COVID hit, found that the average adult was spending 4 hours and 20 minutes on screen time per day. But on top of that, on top of watching the TV or the computer, they were also texting and they were on their social media platforms. So that ends up wrapping up to a whole bunch of technology time. And with kids ages 6 to 16, it was found that they were spending 6 hours and 30 minutes on technology. Now, again, this was pre-COVID. This was pre-Zoom meetings. This was pre-online schooling. You can imagine how that number has gone up. And what's interesting to note is that the more technology we have in our life, the more we need nature to balance it out. But right now, we're very, very lopsided. And a study done by the Nature Conservancy and Ipsos Reid found that for Canadians, 9 out of 10 said they knew they felt better when they were outside. But 75% of them just felt it was easier to stay inside and stay on the couch. What I have found though with COVID is I have found that there's more people that are outside walking because there isn't a whole lot of other things for us to do. And I'm really hoping that post-COVID, that this trend continues and I continue to see families outside on their bikes and walking together. So what I'd like you to do right now is I'd like you to write down on a piece of paper what your stress level is like right now from 0 to 5 for the scale. So 0 is no stress whatsoever, and 5 is I've got a heck of a lot of stress in my life right now. So just take a moment, and yeah, and Liz is going to play along with us here and share things, and I'd really like each of you to write down as well. All right, you've done that, Liz? Okay.
Yeah.
So each of us have become really, really shallow breathers. And what happens is when we breathe shallow, we end up triggering the fight or flight response. And this is a really easy technique. All you need to do is breathe in through your nose for 2 and out through your mouth for 5. Awesome.
That's interesting.
Yeah. We're going to do that again. And this time when we breathe in and out, we're going to shake when we breathe out. So breathe in for 2 through the nose and breathe out for 5 and just shake. Shake off what no longer serves you. Just shake it out. Okay. Awesome. And now what I want you to do is I want you to breathe in and put your hands on your stomach. I'm actually standing right now. So put your hands on your stomach where your belly button kind of is and breathe in for 2 and feel your stomach expand and your hands come out. Breathe out for 5 and feel like it's a deflating balloon, okay? We'll do that one more time. Breathe in through the nose for 2 and out for 5. Awesome. So what we are going to do now is we're going to do that same type of breathing while we listen to ocean waves. This is just a quick 30-second exercise. And what you're going to do is just listen to the ocean waves and breathe in for 2 and breathe out for 5. And the reason ocean waves are so powerful is that they mimic our breathing when we are at rest. So yeah, pretty cool, eh?
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
that.
Well, actually, the 3 most soothing sounds to the human ear are wind, water, and birds. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So there you go. So here we go. We're going to focus on our breathing, and I'm just going to play this quick clip, and you can breathe in for 2 and out for 5. So here we go. Okay, just finish your breathing. And what I'd like—
That was interesting.
What I'd like you to do, Liz, is I'd like you to write down, and all of your listeners, I'd like you to write down where you are right now on that stress level. 0 being no stress at all, 5 being I'm extremely stressed.
Well, before that, I was thinking I was a 3-4, but now I'm thinking I'm a 2-3.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
Oh.
Yeah. And just think about that. That is just by focusing on your breath. That's it. That's it. And it is such, I have to remind myself all the time to do this. It's in us. It's such an easy technique, but look how quick you are able to shift that. And this is something that's really good to do before you're going into a meeting that you think might be a little bit tense, a conversation that might be hard. focus on your breathing, get centered. And one of the tips I love to give people is that when you are stuck in traffic, this is an amazing thing to do. Make the red light be that signal that goes off for you to say, okay, I need to focus on my belly breathing. And yeah, you will end up getting to where you need to get to a lot more calm and not stressed.
This would have been good when I was driving up and down the Deerfoot twice a day.
Yeah, the Deerfoot's crazy traffic, crazy, absolutely.
Yeah, when we stop, you know, it's you're usually stopped for a few moments if you are stopped on the Deerfoot, right? So
in high traffic hour, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, instead of, because what ends up happening usually is you start clenching the wheel, you get quite tense. Instead, if you just focus on your breathing, no one around you needs to know what you're doing, but you're just creating calm for yourself. So that's
instead of checking your phone and text messaging and, you know, whatever, just do the breathing. Oh, this is brilliant. I love this.
Awesome. 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 I hope the people that are watching this will enjoy that little tidbit too.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about stress. I mentioned stress and the stress scale, and I just wanted to talk about perceived versus actual stress. And there was a study done that actually found that perceived stress is actually harder to deal with for us and causes more stress in our body than actual stress does.
Oh.
So just think about that for a moment with COVID, with what we've been through this past year, all the perceived stress of either getting sick or getting someone else sick, of potentially losing a job or having lost a job, right? All that perceived stress, it really builds up. And it's interesting because in that same study, they said the way to deal with that perceived stress is to get out into nature, to get out into green space, to help bring that stress level down.
Oh, you know what? I love that because right out front, the front door is the lawn. And I'll take off my socks or whatever, and I'll go stand in the grass now after our conversation a couple of weeks ago. And I'll actually go stand in the grass and do a little bit of breath work out there. And from the time I leave my office in the back of the house to go to the front of the house and step onto the grass and smell the roses, so to speak, and just enjoy. By the time I get back to the office, in the back of the house, I have way more energy, more positive. So thank you for that suggestion. I just wanted to put that out there because it made a massive difference.
I am so happy to hear that. Yeah. I have a slide that actually talks about that. So I'll save talking about that till a bit later, but I'm so glad that you put that into practice. That's amazing. And it's so simple, right? It's right out your own front or back door. Yeah. And you can rejuvenate yourself that way.
Yeah, and I see neighbors doing that now too. So it's quite funny. People are coming out of their door, hey, hi, you know, and yeah. All right, awesome. This is great.
You started a trend.
I know, it's like, oh, hi.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Okay, so the number one thing that getting out in nature does is it helps to decrease stress. So there was a study done in Japan, and these researchers took people from concrete jungle downtown Tokyo out to the forest. And they had them focus on their breathing. They had them focus on all of their senses. What were they seeing? What were they hearing? What were they smelling? What were they feeling or touching? And maybe what were they tasting? And this is called Shinrin Yoku, which translates into English into forest bathing. And what these researchers did was they tested the cortisol levels by doing saliva tests on the individuals who went to take that forest bath. And they found that their stress levels decreased significantly once they had spent time in the forest. And it wasn't going for a big, vigorous hike. It was going for a very slow and very mindful hike. So just like you were saying, getting out and having your bare feet on the ground and just being in that green space and focusing on your breathing, you were doing a bit of forest bathing there, right? So awesome, awesome tip. And actually, from what I understand, there's a lot of research actually going on in BC right now about forest bathing and its benefits. And I think we're going to be hearing a lot more about it, especially because of the pandemic.
I love that. I love that video.
Oh, thank you. It pulls me in every time.
Yeah, I love that.
Awesome. All right. So a Korean study found that just looking at pictures of nature versus man-made pictures, there was a huge difference in participants. Those looking at pictures of nature had much lower stress levels than those who looked at man-made pictures, which is pretty interesting. So this is a really dense looking forest. And what I want you to do is I want you just to look at this forest, and I want you to engage all your senses, and you're going to have to use some of your imagination here. Beyond what you're seeing here with this beautiful green, what would you be hearing in the forest? You can write it down on your piece of paper if you like, or you can just keep it in your mind.
Okay.
Okay? What would you be smelling in this dense, mossy forest? What would you be smelling?
Oh, I love this. I wrote down birds and damp air, like fresh, damp forest air.
Those are beautiful things. Like I said before, birds are one of the most soothing sounds to the human ear, right? So that's awesome that you're getting that. What would you be tasting? Would you be tasting anything? Maybe there's just saliva in your mouth. Maybe it's something that you just finished eating from going on a hike to get to this place. What would you be tasting?
Oh, I don't know, because I think I would be probably breathing in through my nose and maybe my mouth. So a clean taste, a pure taste. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense. And
Okay.
just to let you know, if it's just the saliva in your mouth that you're tasting, that's a good sign that the saliva is there. That means that you are not that stressed if you can feel the saliva in your mouth. So
I can, so I'm not that stressed.
Good. And what would you be touching in this beautiful mossy forest filled with trees? What would you be touching?
Oh. Well, I think I might go up and, now that you mention it, go up and touch a tree, maybe a leaf. I don't know if that's something I would normally do, but yeah, maybe touch the tree, the leaves because they're alive, get some natural energy from that. I don't know, that's a great question.
Yeah, but it's helping you to just engage your senses, right? And that's doing that helps you to be mindful in the moment. And finally, what would you be feeling overall in this environment?
Really clean, balanced, clean. Oh, I don't know if I can put words to it. I would just feel really pure, clean, back to nature, the basics. You'd be feeling the damp moisture on your skin.
Absolutely.
Oh, this is interesting.
Yeah. So what I want you to do now is I want you to breathe in everything that you sensed through your nose for 2, and then breathe out for 5. Great job. I love the description you had of pure, clean. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And now I'm going to put you to work. I'm going to have you identify your favorite place to go in nature. Now, this is different for everyone. It's unique to each individual. So Liz, what I'll do is I'll give you the prompts and I'll just have you write it down on a piece of paper, and then you can share with me when we're done going through this, okay?
Okay.
So it can be anywhere. That's your favorite place to go, okay? So in your favorite place in nature, what are you seeing? Take and write that down on your piece of paper. What are you seeing in your favorite place? What is it that you are hearing in your favorite place in nature? What are you sensing or feeling in your favorite place of nature? What are you smelling in your favorite place? And finally, what are you touching in your favorite place? Now, did you want to share your place, Liz, or do you want to keep that to yourself? Okay.
No, yeah. So my place was the beach, like the picture at the bottom of the slide on the right here. I think it's the right. I still see that walking along the sand. There's green, and then you get to the beach and the ocean, and you can't see anything else beyond that. I love that. What I'm hearing is, of course, the water, the waves, sound of the sound of like wind, kind of a wind thing there. And then the feeling for me was just feeling of freedom.
I love it.
Because there's nothing else around.
Awesome.
And so that's that you've walked, you're up, not at the edge, but and the picture, the ocean is open. So there's freedom. There's nothing sort of confining you, so to speak. And then the smell, I think you said, the smell was, for me, it was the smell of the salt air. I just imagined it was the ocean. So it was the salt air. That was and then the other thing, the last one, I think you said, what are you feeling?
Feeling and touching.
Yeah, so what I thought, the first thing came to my mind was picking up the sand and letting it run through your hands. That was sort of what came to me right away.
I love it. I love how you really embrace that and really, and just for those that are listening later, know that wherever your place is, it's perfect for you. For Liz, it's going down, being by sand, but for you, it might be a meadow, it might be a stream. There's no one right place to go, but it's really important to connect with that place. And so what I'd like everyone to do is, you've connected with that place, just again, take that deep breath in through the nose for 2 and out through the mouth for 5.
You know what came to mind in this is that exercise was brilliant, but then I was thinking, okay, so freedom, I was kind of feeling the freedom. Yeah. But if I went into the woods, now this might sound nuts, but if I went into the woods, I would feel protected.
That doesn't sound nuts at all.
I would feel, yeah, so if I wanted to feel protected, I would go to the woods. If I wanted a sense of freedom, I would go to the ocean. And then if I just wanted to sit and be, I would go to the lake. So I think in the picture, I have different feelings, so to speak. Like I say at the top, it would be the lake would be to be, the ocean or the trees, the forest to be protected, and the beach to feel freedom.
And bang on, like nature is a perfect mirror for what it is that we're going through. So you are really in tune with yourself, Liz, in terms of knowing what the different things represent to you. And one of the things that I tell people is, if you can't get out to those places, your favorite places, have a picture inside that represents that for you. Because like I said, from that Korean study, just looking at a picture of nature actually helps to decrease your stress levels more. I've got plants behind me here. I've also got a picture behind me here of a mountain filled with meadow flowers. And then I also look out onto a park that is green space, and I get to see kids playing out there and the trees, and it's just very, very nice and relaxing. So you can bring nature indoors to help decrease your stress level as well.
Yeah, because in my office here, I can see, well, there's a beautiful palm tree across the way here, huge, beautiful palm tree. But in the distance, it's cloudy today, but I can see the mountains in North and West Vancouver. And then there's incredible, because this is an older area, incredible trees that are huge. And so at any point I can stand up, or even sitting at my desk, which I am here now, and look out and see all this nature. And it's just so much better than in the past, you know, when we were in the offices looking to a concrete wall or somebody else's, you know, office. So yeah.
Absolutely. And it actually, having a view of nature actually helps you with your creativity as well. So yeah. So
that explains it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm coming up with all these ideas. Oh, this is interesting. Decreases anxiety and depression.
Yeah. So the second thing I want to focus on is just how getting out in nature decreases anxiety and depression. And there was a well-known study that was done in Duke University. And what they did was they had participants go for a brisk 30-minute walk outdoors 3 times per week. That was it, 3 times per week. And they found that that was as effective as them taking antidepressant medications.
Oh.
So I'm not suggesting that people go off their antidepressants, you know, talk to your doctor about it, but look at incorporating getting a walk into your health routine and just see how it affects your mood by going out for that brisk walk for 30 minutes. Okay.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Excuse me. And the other thing is, sorry, I need to drink a sip of water here. I am really, really excited about this. I am. And this originated in BC, actually. Sorry. So BC Parks and Dr. Melissa Lem, who's a family practitioner in BC, have partnered together, and what they are prescribing is green prescriptions for people to get outdoors into nature, which I just think is phenomenal. And they were going to launch this in April of 2020, but of course COVID hit. And then they didn't launch it till November of 2020. So you're going to start hearing a bit more about it. And they're wanting to take this across Canada. And what's interesting is I was on a webinar with Dr. Lem, and I said to her, you know, there's been a lot of news in the media about these green prescriptions actually causing more anxiety for patients. And she said, yes, they had received a lot of that feedback. She said, but what people don't realize is they make these green prescriptions patient-centric. So it's not a one-size-fits-all. What might work well for another person won't work well for another. And so they take all that into consideration. Some people may need a walking buddy to help them get outdoors, to feel calm outdoors. But I just think this is such progress for the medical system to be embracing this and embracing the green prescription.
Yeah,
so,
that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
It really, really is. So
yeah.
Can't wait for it to come to Alberta.
Yes. Well, I'm back living in BC, of course, and so I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, absolutely. And the third thing that nature does is it actually improves our memory. They've done research actually recently that COVID brain is actually a thing. And the reason it's a thing is because we have so many little decisions to make each and every day that when it comes to the big decisions, we feel totally overwhelmed.
Oh.
Yeah. So the brain fog from COVID is a real thing. So one of the things it said in this study is when you feel that, instead of pushing through, listen to your body, because your body is giving you a signal saying, you know what, listen to me, slow down, go for a walk, do whatever it is that's just going to help you to calm down a bit and make you feel a little bit more grounded and focused. And this is where the improving memory comes from. So a study done took a group of participants and had each of them do a test. And then they took one group and took them out to a nature conservancy area, and they took the other group and took them downtown into a concrete jungle. And they came back and both of them wrote the tests again. Those who went out into that green space of that nature conservancy, they rated 20% better for memory recall than those who went in the concrete jungle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so something to really take to heart if you have a test that you have coming up that you need to do well in, or a major presentation that you need to do that you really need to be on point. Great for you just to take some nature time out to make sure your memory is as sharp as it can be.
Huh, that's brilliant. Brilliant.
That's nature.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. That's
yeah. And so the fourth thing that nature does is it helps to improve our physical health. Mm. There was a study done between the Nature Conservancy as well as Women's Health, and they found that women who got outdoors for half an hour every day for a walk actually decreased their chance of getting diabetes, decreased their chance of getting different cancer, breast cancer actually, and decreased their blood pressure levels and decreased their stress levels.
In walking 30 minutes a day.
In walking 30 minutes a day. So what, you know, that saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, just in walking. And Liz, you alluded to this before, but when you walk barefoot, whether it's walking on a beach or whether it's walking on grass, what's happening is you are activating, there's 7,000 nerve endings on the bottom of each foot. And what you're doing is you're activating them with all the electrons coming up from the earth in through the bottoms of your feet. And what happens is when you absorb those electrons from the earth, they help to decrease inflammation. And it's been linked to actually helping with insomnia and decreasing your stress levels as well. And that's just by getting outdoors, getting barefoot. Make sure you know the area that you're walking in so you're not stepping on anything that might be sharp. But I have a cousin who has plantar fasciitis, and she goes out and walks and on the ground, on the grass, and she finds it helps her plantar fasciitis quite significantly.
You know, when you look at this picture of walking in the water on the sand, like it takes you right there. I'm like, oh, I can so feel what that would be like. And that itself is relaxing.
And again, right, we can look at pictures of these things and they help us to calm down, right? So wow. Amazing. And the fifth thing I'm going to share with you today is the fact that nature actually increases our immunity. And this is a huge one for me, especially right now. So there's something called phytoncides that the trees and the plants give off. And what happens is when we inhale those phytoncides, so think of them like essential oils. When we inhale those in, what they help to do is they help to boost a type of white blood cell that's a killer cell that kills various tumors as well as viruses. So in this time of COVID, when everyone is concerned about the viruses, we should be getting outdoors for breathing in these healing phytoncides to help boost our immunity naturally.
That makes so much sense, right? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? And these pictures are so brilliant because I'm like, I can so see myself on that path, breathing it in, and all of a sudden all these senses, are all flooding back to me. And I'm like, I want to be there right now.
Absolutely. Well, the reality is we are nature, right? And we return to nature. So we have this innate connection with nature. It's there. And so when we connect with it, we just feel more whole, right?
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah. And continuing on with the increasing the immunity, there's research that suggests that children who don't play in the dirt actually decrease their immunity more so than those who do. And I think that's quite interesting with all the antibacterials, soap and gel and stuff that we've got going on. There is some bacteria that's good bacteria. And a friend of mine, her dad was a doctor, and he said every kid should eat about a tablespoon of dirt to help boost their immunity. And I feel that there's a lot of truth to that. And I'm just going to play this video here. So there was a study done in neuroscience back in 2007, actually, that found that there are happy biomes in the soil. And so these happy biomes, when we breathe them in, have a similar effect on our brain as what taking Prozac would do. So think about that when you're digging in the dirt. If you're doing a garden, indoors, outdoors, in potted plants, that sort of thing, you're actually helping to make yourself more happy by digging in the dirt as well with these happy biomes that are in the soil.
And we all did that as kids.
Totally. Remember the mud pies that you used to make?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Right?
Yeah.
And just even working in the garden too. But isn't that funny? And then, using your hands in the dirt, and you're like, oh, it's a worm, but yet you're happy digging in the dirt.
Yeah. There was actually a gentleman, Oliver Sacks, who did a lot of work with dementia patients. And dementia patients who couldn't even remember how to tie their shoes anymore, when he handed them a seed to plant in the ground, they knew exactly what to do. Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
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 That's interesting because it's in the subconscious, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
And we're wired to be connected to nature. So
yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
This is so good.
Awesome. I'm glad you like it. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to share just a little tongue-in-cheek look at the nature prescription. They also say that laughter helps to increase the microbiomes in our body by 20% that help to fight some cancers as well as viruses as well. So laughter is really good for us. There's laughter yoga that's out there. Like I said, this is a very tongue-in-cheek video about the nature prescription. I hope you and the rest of your viewers will enjoy it. So I'll just play it here in just a sec.
Do you find yourself longing for the apocalypse? I did. I was looking for a reason to live. Hi. Are you feeling tired, irritable, stressed out? Well, you might consider nature.
From the people that brought you Getting Outside comes prescription strength Nature, a non-harmful medication shown to relieve the crippling symptoms of modern life.
Nature's recommended for humans of all ages, and it's great for pets too.
Nature can reduce cynicism, meaninglessness, anal retentiveness, and murderous rage. In clinical studies, Nature is proven to decrease work-induced catatonia.
Caution. Nature may cause you to slow down, quit your job, or seriously consider what the you're doing with your life.
If you are overly cynical, jaded, or emotionally numb, you may need to increase your dose of nature. Do you have trouble being even mildly uncomfortable? Nature may not be right for you. Side effects may include spontaneous euphoria, taking yourself less seriously, and being in a good mood for no apparent reason.
So ask your doctor if nature is right for you.
So I hope you got a bit of a giggle out of that.
I did. I didn't, there were some things I wasn't expecting. I went, did I hear that right? I thought, oh, okay. You know what? That was really good.
Awesome.
That's interesting. Yeah.
So what I'd like you to do now, Liz, is I'd like you to rate your stress level now between that 0 to 5, 0 being no stress at all, 5 being extremely highly stressed. And what I want you to do is write that down, and then I want you to compare it to the first number that you wrote down when we did this.
So when we started, between 0 and 5, I was like, I'm probably a 3 or 4 right now, quite a bit of stress happening, or I'm allowing stress, which I need to change that. And then partway through, I dropped down to, remember I said like a 2, 3, probably higher towards the 3. And then now as we're talking, I'm kind of like, so maybe a 1 to 2. And the thought that came into mind is, why do I let myself get stressed? Get out into nature.
But you know what, like the reality is we go up and down, right? Like it's a curve. So it's just becoming aware and taking those nature breaks, taking whatever break it is, because it can be as simple as just taking 5 minutes, like you said, looking out your window, looking at the mountains, looking at the trees, right? Just taking that 5 minutes, just see how much your stress levels come down. And what I find interesting, you went from a 3, 4 to kind of like a 1, 2, and this is from only focusing on your breathing and looking and thinking about pictures of nature, right?
I want those videos.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like, I want those. I'm playing them throughout the day.
Absolutely. I know that the green one is just amazing. But my point is, think how much your stress level would go down even more from you actually being out in nature, being in all that greenery, right?
It's funny coming back to the West Coast from Calgary and being back out here. The weather's a little milder. And so I keep thinking to myself, in Calgary, it would be like, oh, it's too cold, I'm not going out. And there's no excuse here. It's just I'm in my office too much. And there's so much beauty around here. There's a lake that's like a 2-minute drive from here. And why am I not doing that, right? It's, we're staying inside, and maybe partially that's to do with COVID, or I'm not really sure, but there's so much nearby. The other thing I made a commitment to myself this year is I haven't been getting in the sun much for the last 15, 20 years. And now, I've kind of got the okay, I can get back in the sun. And so I thought, this is the year I'm going to get in the sun. I'm going to sit in the sun, read, relax, get back into that, because I just didn't do that for so long, thinking, oh, it's not good for you, or, hey, I'm busy. And it's just a matter of changing the mindset to really, when I do those things, it's for the better of me. And
Absolutely.
our energy trickles down, towards other things and other people. So I'm going to get out in the sun. And I did agree the other day with a friend I was telling you about earlier that we're going to start going hiking. So it's interesting you're doing the presentation today when we agreed to do hiking 2 days ago. And again, interesting. This is fascinating. So
well, that's actually what I was going to say to you was, it's great if you can get an accountability buddy to keep you on track, because people who have accountability buddies, they're 70% more likely to achieve their goal than trying to do it on their own. And remember that stat that I shared right at the beginning, 9 out of 10 Canadians know that they feel better when they're outdoors, but 75% of them just find it easier to stay at home on the couch. So it's just the way we're wired, right? And
Well,
so
yeah.
having that accountability buddy for helping you get out is one way to do it. And I do also have information on my monthly challenge, if I can share that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've got another 5-10 minutes left on this Zoom.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So with COVID hitting last year, what I decided to do was I decided to create my own platform. And I offer monthly challenges where people get outdoors every day with a prompt of the day, and they take pictures or make comments or take videos, and then they post it on the platform, and they get points for doing that. And yeah, and so I launched it in September last year to the general public, and worked out some bugs and stuff there. And in January of this year, I actually launched it to a corporate team in the Philippines that did it. And what was awesome was not only did it improve their physical and mental well-being, but it increased their communication and their team morale amongst the team, which I think is huge. And with COVID going on and teams not being able to get together and people feeling really isolated, this is one way that they can get out in nature, have someone keep them accountable, because I'm there cheering them on each and every step of the way.
That's
and
brilliant.
Thank you.
I love that.
It's been incredible, not only for them but also for me. It's interesting when you become really mindful of your setting, what you see. And I've had people who are avid nature enthusiasts get back to me and say, you know what, I walked by this one item out in nature millions of times before and never took notice of it until I did your challenge. And I think that practice of being mindful to what's around you in your environment is so important for helping to bring down those stress levels, right?
Well, and that says learning.motivatedbynature.com.
Yep.
You know what? That's a brilliant idea. You know, and before I forget, or before we get into another conversation here, what's the best way for people to find you, reach out to you, connect with you, get more information? Because I mean, this is brilliant. It's brilliant.
Thank you.
Brilliant. So if you can share how people can get a hold of you, the resources, I'll talk a little later about how they can find it on my interview page type of thing, but yeah.
Awesome. So the landing page for the actual challenge is at thelearning.motivatedbynature.com. I do have free consultant calls for half an hour to see whether the challenge is right for you or your organization. It's right on my website. And also my email is info@motivatedbynature.com. Okay.
Oh my gosh, so good.
Yeah.
You know, this was great. I want to thank you for, I mean, I love this, right? So what I will do is I will share this out to the event that we have going on, and then I'll share it out on my other social media and put it up onto my YouTube channels as well, because this is such important information and this can make a massive difference in all of our lives. So I personally want to thank you for this, and everybody's going to love it. So I can't wait to...
Can I share just something really quick?
Absolutely.
Okay, so one of the things with the challenge is, again, what I really reinforce is the good, better, best principle. So a good day is just taking 5 minutes away from your computer or whatever it might be, and just looking out your window and looking for the prompt of the day and posting that on the platform. Okay. So a better day is getting outside like you did, you know, with your bare feet, just breathing in the healing air and looking for the prompt of the day and posting it on the platform. And the best is actually getting out for that half-hour walk, looking for the prompt of the day and posting on the platform. So I wanted it to be available and accessible to everyone. So that's why I really stress that. And I know that life happens and sometimes people can't get out for that half-hour walk. So just remembering to take that 5 minutes, that's enough to make a switch. And just wanted to share two things really quick with you. I've been very lucky to get NRC, based out of Vancouver, BC. They are sponsoring a free package of NRC for every single participant in the Wild About Nature Challenge. And that's a $20 value. They are such an incredible company, really committed to natural ingredients. So really happy about that partnership with them. And here, if you sign up for my newsletter, you'll get the 5 great benefits of vitamin N, also known as nature. And I just wanted to share this last quote with you from Frank Lloyd Wright. And it is, study nature, love nature, stay close to nature. It will never fail you.
I love that. Yeah, that's so good, right? Wow. Well, listen, this has been so amazing. Thank you so much. I'll put information as well at the end of this, how people can contact you. And again, thank you. This was so brilliant. I'm really glad we did this. So thanks again.
Well, thank you. And thank you for playing along. And I was so happy to see your stress levels go down. That's awesome. I hope your viewers see the same thing.
Oh, I do too. That's awesome. Okay, well, bye for now.
Okay.
And we'll see you again soon.